All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to this episode of This Week Unloaded. We're still waiting to see if anybody else shows up, so we're sorry for the delay. Right now, I have Mr. Kingpin with me. How you doing, David?
Oh, good, man. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
And you were asking me about the new Mossberg pistol before we got online. Got started. You want to share that with the folks out there, and maybe we can talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, basically, I was wondering if, because obviously, I mean, you think Mossberg, you don't think handgun. And I was just wondering, was that just a money grab, or did they actually make a pistol that is worth buying? And just on, looking at it on the internet, it looks like a pretty decent pistol. Like, if it was available for me in Maryland, I'd go buy one. But I'm not that finicky either. I don't know the intricacies of, is that just a copy of, the latest Glock, or did they make something new and interesting?
Well, from what I've seen, this has been in development for a few years now. So I think they're testing, like we were saying before we got on the air. I think they're testing the waters. If this does well, we might see them putting out more handguns. You know, they might be trying to diversify. Remember, they started mainly with shotguns, and now they got a whole different line of rifles. They've tried getting into the AR market. They've done 22 versions of it. What looks like an AK. It's a blowback, but looks like an AK. And they got their version of the AR-15 and 22 as well. So this could be another one of those situations where they're testing the market to see what their reception is going to be.
The one that I've been looking at recently, because my friend is super interested in the 6.5 round, and Mossberg's got a 6.5 Creedmoor out there right now too, which isn't really all that bad, and it's quite affordable.
Yeah, I was just reading something else about somebody else's bring one on. I don't remember who it is. They're driving me nuts now because I can't remember who it was. Yeah, there's 6.5 Creedmoor. Seeing a lot more people bringing out rifles chambered in that caliber. That's for sure. ARs and bolt actions and whatnot. Oh, I remember who it was now. Henry in their Long Ranger. They're bringing out a 6.5 Creedmoor.
Hey, can you see the screen share I'm doing?
Yeah.
So I guess that right there are the three versions that the Mossberg is putting out. My favorite's the one in the middle, just because I like the classic look better.
Yeah, the one on
And
the bottom looks similar to the Ruger Precision.
yeah, definitely. I don't like the butt butt stock right there. It looks just too busy. And then I've got my Marlin Model 60 looks just like that Woodstock one right in the middle, except you know without the 6.5 barrel.
The Henry, it's a lever gun with magazine, box mag, if I remember right. Because
Nice.
there's no mag tube on it, because you can tell by looking at it. It looks like a bolt action, but with a lever instead of a bolt on it. You know what I mean? The bolt lever.
So how does a lever action work with a detachable magazine?
Same way as it would with any other. I mean, it's just feeding up through there instead of coming through a tube. It's just feeding straight up through the magazine. They
So basically, just like when you got like a bolt action that holds 4 or 5 rounds inside the well.
yeah, to be just like having a bolt action that runs with a mag,
All
the
right.
box mag,
Yeah, I got it.
and it's not new. I mean, there you go back all the way back to the late 1800s. Winchester was putting out lever guns with detachable box mags. If you look, it's particularly the 7.62 by 54R that they did for the Russian Army in the what was it, 1896, 1895, something like that. I can't remember the model number right now, But yeah, and that one they even put Mosin Nagant stripper clips on there so that you can reload it without taking the magazine out. It would feed the you could use the Mosin stripper clip if with in the magazine guide, and then or the stripper clip guide on the bolt of the rifle, push them down in there, and it would load the box magazine.
You know, I'm not really all that familiar with the stripper clips, but one of the guys that I watch on YouTube and Instagram, his name, he goes by Pro Carry Trucker. Uh, He used to be Richard Hudson, but he changed it to Pro Carry Trucker. He was shooting a, I'm pretty sure it was a Nagant, and he had the 8-round stripper clip, and he was showing how you load it outside of the rifle, and it just looks like such a pain in the neck. And then when he had it down inside the rifle and he was loading it, it still looked like a pain in the neck. And to me, I'm thinking, how many soldiers got shot or blowed up trying to fiddle with loading that dang thing after they were empty?
No,
You know,
stripper clips really aren't. If you get a properly made stripper clip, which the military ones, the surplus ones are always the best ones. They're much better than consumer stripper clips. They're very easy to use, really. They're not. It's not hard. It's not as hard as what you might think. You just put them in the guide, push down with your thumb, and it loads your magazine. Pull out the stripper clip, put it in your pocket, whatever. You're good to go. They actually have stripper clips for loading AR magazines.
well, I've got a magazine loader assistant for my 40, handgun, my 40, which
Mm-hmm.
is kind of like, I guess, look kind of like what the guy was loading the other day on his video. Right? You push down on the follower with it, and then you just load inside the little clip, and it helps, push them down when it gets stiff.
Yeah, when you push down on those rounds, if you got a good stripper clip, they'll just slide right out of there and right into the magazine.
Oh,
You just got to make sure you're pushing them on the wrong spot. You don't want to push them towards the nose of the round. You want to push towards the back, right in front of the clip itself. That's the best place. Yeah. That, and then getting back to the Mossberg pistol, we kind of got off the topic there. I think that, we were saying before the show went live. I'm just interested in seeing if maybe they're releasing this a little too late. They're going to be late to the party because they're already going to have to compete with the Shield, the Glock. Excuse me, Glock 43, the various Ruger offerings in that size. Remember, Ruger's got 3 different ones themselves, just in that size of frame. And then you got other ones like, I know this guy's a piece of crap that they got that. There's that out there. You got the various Taurus mod ones, and you got if they ever get to where it works properly. I know some people's works, but you got a lot of them that don't. Would be the Sig 365. I mean, you got a whole plethora of that size handgun out there right now.
You know what else confuses me about SIG is how can they be such a big prolific company and make so many errors? Because it seems like everybody's always complaining about SIG.
It's Sig USA. Their quality control is not what it was when they were making them purely over in Germany. The quality control over there was much better than what it is not over here.
Are they using the same materials or just different materials and different manufacturing?
It's just the quality control. They're not properly testing them, or is what it would seem. It just seems like they're putting them out there on the market, and the end users, their beta tester. For it's just that's what it seems like anyway.
Travis has put out a couple videos with the 2019 releases, and it looks like there's a lot of really cool stuff coming out. So should be a pretty decent year as long as we can keep them from being banned.
And none of that stuff's really new. It's just rehashes of stuff that they're already doing. I mean, Remington announced the TAC 13 like a year ago. I mean, that might even be on the market already. So it's like, why is this a SHOT Show release when it's already there?
Well, I've been thinking about that quite a bit recently. Aside from laser guns, is there really anywhere else that the firearm can go? I mean, obviously, I don't want to call it perfected, but it's been pretty much the same thing for almost the entire history of the firearm.
Yeah,
So,
but I'm not knocking Travis. I mean, he was just reporting on what he saw. But they're putting. What was he looking at? Was he on one of the NRA magazine websites when he was looking at that? I don't remember.
yeah, I don't remember.
I think that's what he was looking at, and most of that wasn't anything new. It's all stuff we already knew was coming. None of that was a surprise.
Well, I think he might have been talking about new releases instead of like new.
Well, no, this is stuff that that's supposed to be new this year at SHOT Show, but it's all stuff that has been talked about. Most of that stuff was stuff that's been talked about since last SHOT Show or like midway through the year, through 2018. I mean, none of that was actually new that nobody knew was coming. That's my point. I mean, it's like the article that he was getting this from, for them to be promoting this stuff like it's all new stuff that nobody knew about. No, it's not. I mean, it's just not. The NRA themselves, because I still have my lifetime subscription. I'm like, and I still just basically because I like the magazines, right? So I get Shooting Illustrated from them, and I already paid the money. They're not getting another penny from me, so I'm like, why the hell? I'm not going to bother canceling it. I'll just keep my, it's just a magazine subscription. But they already had like God, this was months ago where they were talking about the throwback versions of the Mossberg. It's like,
Yeah, I don't know enough about the newest stuff coming out anyway because it's a moot point for me to get interested in a new gun coming out because it'll be 6 months to a year before Maryland allows it to be sold here.
yeah,
If it's anything cool, then it's not coming here. Like say Glock makes a 7.62 handgun,
yeah.
and
Well,
it only comes with a 15-round magazine. Like there is no such thing as a 10-round magazine. Then they're not gonna sell it here.
right. But you shouldn't have any trouble with the Mossbergs.
No, yeah,
The shotguns, not the handgun, because all those are is different furniture. Instead of being polymer furniture, it's wood furniture.
yeah. Like if Mossberg decides to petition Maryland, then it'll get put through a lot faster. But if Mossberg doesn't say, "Hey, Maryland, we've got this new gun coming out, we want to sell it here in your state," then it's up to me to do that.
Man, but the 590A1, you can already get that in Maryland, right?
I don't know. I can look up. I can look on the registry if you want me to.
That's that's their that's their top of the line pump gun. Basically, it's the tactical one that has. I don't. Are you allowed to have bayonet lugs in Maryland?
Yes, my AR has one.
Okay. So yeah, that's the one with the heat shield and everything. But yeah, you should be if you got the 590 on the list. I mean, the Mossberg 590. I mean, the A1's just an upgraded Mossberg 590. You got the 590 on the list. You should be able to get all the throwback ones. They said it's just wood furniture instead of polymer. So, yeah, I mean, it's not anything different. The mag fed one you might have an issue with because you're only allowed to have 10-round mags.
No, let's see. You're allowed to have any size magazine that you want, but you can't buy them here. so I can't order one from a different state.
Yeah, I mean, when you buy it, you get
No,
them in what size it would you'd be able
yeah,
to with the
yeah.
you got it.
If it's sold in Maryland, it has to be 10 rounds or less. Now I can go to a neighboring state or anywhere else and get one,
Yeah,
you know,
like
30 rounds.
you could, like go to Martinsburg here and get like one of the gun shops there and buy the 20 round magazine for it too.
Yeah, yeah, and then legally bring it back and legally own it in Maryland. But I can't say, "Hey, Rich, send me a couple magazines." You know, even on a personal level, it's illegal, and it's no business is going to send it because they all already know Maryland's laws, so they're not going to violate them.
So you could go to another state and buy them,
Yep,
but you can't order online and have them shipped.
correct. And
That's absolutely retarded.
you as my buddy, unless you wanted to, commit a felony, then
How would
you can't
how would
ship
they
them to
know?
me. Well, it'd be up to you as a moral person to say, hey, I don't want to take the risk of doing that. Or, hey, I don't care about taking the risk. That would be a personal decision because the only way they'd find out is if they caught the package for some reason,
Yeah,
you know.
how would they? I mean, ship them UPS or FedEx or something. How are they going to know?
Well, that's what I'm saying. The only way they would know is if the package right next to yours had a bunch of cocaine in it when the dog started sniffing, and then they opened your package as well. So you'd have a better chance of riding a shark while you're winning the lottery.
Yeah. You know what you do? You ship them during the Christmas rush. They won't have time to look.
No, they're not inspecting boxes. Trust me. Even
Yeah,
on slow
I
days,
know.
those
It was a joke. Ship them during the Christmas rush. I'll never get a
yeah.
chance to look.
But some people don't want to take the chance. They just don't want to risk that. And I don't blame them. I wouldn't ask anybody to do anything they're uncomfortable with.
Yeah.
Let's see. This is a handgun roster. I can't seem to find where the rifle list is at.
The 590 is a shotgun.
Right, but
They,
I
they
don't know.
advertise for shotguns.
I don't know about that because I've never bought a shotgun, so I don't know. Uh, I don't know the deal with that, but I know that there's a spot where you can look and see all kinds of different rifles that are banned, and then this right here, the handgun roster, is you type in the bottom, which handgun you want, and it'll click up whether or not it's on the list or not. Or
Right.
you can just click on the list and search the hundreds and hundreds of things on the list.
I bet if there's a shotgun list, one of my shotguns is on it.
You're talking about the new one with the brace.
No, not that one. I'm talking about my Pepper 12.
And then once a month, the handgun roster review board has their meetings and they post it on their website. So that way, that's how I ended up finding out that the Ruger was ready because the Ruger Security 9 came out and I was all about getting it. And then I realized Maryland didn't approve it yet. And then once I submitted the request, some other people must have submitted it as well because 4 months later, it came up into the minutes. And the thing is, even after it was approved and it was on the internet in the minutes of the actual meeting, to where as soon as it's posted onto the internet, it's available for sale. Well, not the internet. As soon as they gavel their meeting, really, it's available for sale.
Right.
No gun store would talk about it. I don't care. Even if you knew a buddy and you walked in and said, "Hey, you're getting a Security 9," they said the best that they would say is, "Yes, we're going to get it." They wouldn't tell you how much they were going to sell it for. They wouldn't tell you how much when they were going to get it. Only thing that they would say is, "Yes, we're going to have it." So that was a real big pain in my butt because I waited. I think it was 5 months, 6 months to get that gun.
Yeah. Does Maryland have any extra taxes that they would have to pay? That might be why they couldn't tell you the price until they knew what they were going to have to pay.
But no, because it's a legal thing. They can't. They for whatever reason they can't quote you the price on something that's not been approved yet.
Even if it was approved?
Well, until the store owner confirms that it's approved, They don't care what the Yahoo on the other side of the counter is saying. They're going to look it up themselves.
You would
But
think that gun shops will keep up with that kind of stuff. You know. I mean, if I were running a gun shop in Maryland, I'd be making sure I knew what was available as soon as it was available. You know what I mean?
and they are, but this specific firearm, I kept a track of. So the minute, like the very day that the roster approved it, I knew about it because I was watching the roster every single day because I really wanted to go get it. So I
Yeah.
probably just beat the people to it.
You
Plus,
gotta
it was
feel bad for Maryland people around here. You go to a gun shop on this side of the border, and I guarantee you, if you're there long enough, you're going to hear, nope, I can't sell it to you. You're in Maryland.
I've had that told to me. I go to the Pennsylvania, the Gettysburg gun show, which is coming up pretty soon too, and people at the tables will tell me, "Hey, you're a nice guy, and I really like your business, but your Maryland driver's license is not going to allow me to sell you this." And I ask them why, and a lot of times they're just like, "We don't want to deal with the hassle. Nothing against you, but it's just too much of a hassle."
Yeah. Well, the gun shops around here, they'll put tags on it saying if something's Maryland legal or not. And you'll get
Hmm.
somebody asking for something that doesn't have the Maryland legal tag on it. It's like, can't sell it to you.
Yep. Yeah, man. And I don't blame them. I wouldn't want to mess with us either. Who knows? Today, laws are one thing. Tomorrow, they could be a completely different thing.
And the last time I was at the one gun shop, the only thing that they had on the wall, the rifle wall, because they have a pegboard behind the counter with rifles on it, that had a Maryland legal tag on it, was a high point carbine.
Well, and that's weird too because the AR that I bought doesn't have a collapsible stock. It's got the pistol grip. It's got the bayonet lug, but it doesn't have a flash hider. So therefore, it was Maryland compliant. But it also has the heavy barrel. Now, the ones with the light barrels can have all those other options because they don't have the heavy barrel.
Now, could you is that where you can't have flash hiders or anything when you buy it, or is that period that you couldn't add one yourself after the fact?
You can usually add whatever you want after the fact, which is goes back to the magazines. You can't buy a 30-round magazine, but you can own 5 million of them if you got the access to them. And the same thing with the flash hider. You can add the accessory to it, but you can't buy it that way. And pretty much no, you'd be if you're just Joe Public and you walk into a gun store and say, "Hey, you know, uh, I want this permanently fixed to my barrel," so they're going to have to thread the barrel and do all that kind of stuff. They're going to say no, probably.
Yeah, there's a gunsmith in Hagerstown that you could probably go and have that kind of stuff done to it.
Yeah, I'm working in Hagerstown this week. All last week and all this week, I'll be working in Hagerstown.
And they do work on they do threading for shotguns and stuff. I was thinking about maybe taking my shockwave and having them thread it, but being it's a shockwave and not knowing if it's on Maryland's okay list, I don't know if I want to risk it.
What is the exact name of your shockwave?
It's the Mossberg 590 Shockwave 20 gauge.
Mossberg 590 shockwave 12 gauge.
20, not 12. It's the 20.
20 gauge. Oh, 20. Okay.
Yeah, especially since it's got that evil pistol grip on there.
Where was I? Here we go. I typed it in the wrong spot. Sorry about that. All right. Mossberg.
What I thought about doing with it is getting it tapped for internal choke and getting one of those ones that's also muzzle brake, putting it on there.
You could probably just call the gun shop and see. I mean, they would
Yeah,
probably tell you.
yeah, I figured that much. I just haven't gotten around to it.
Well, you
I
have
don't have the
to.
money. Yeah, I don't have the cash right now to do it, but I'm thinking about getting that done to it though.
Yeah, you'll have to call me if you go up there, and I'll meet you up there.
I think I would. I think that would help with some of the recoil on this thing because it, even though it's only a 20 gauge, this thing still kicks like a freaking mule.
All right, here we go. I typed in. I just typed in on my internet search, my browser search. Mossberg not 590 Shockwave 20 gauge, legal in Maryland, and one of the results that came up was for Dick's Sporting Goods and Screw Dick's, by the way. It says sale or shipment of this product to residents of the following states is restricted. California, of course, Connecticut, of course, DC, of course, Maryland, of course, Hawaii, Massachusetts, New Jersey, New York. 15 round plus magazines. The sale or shipment of this product to residents in the file, it just repeats itself over and over again.
15
So,
round magazine for a Mossberg Shockwave. Whoa!
yeah, that's right. Exactly.
I don't think that exists. Well,
No,
they do got the Shockwave M, the 590M Shockwave, which is the MagFed version. You put a
yeah.
20 round mag in that.
Well, this is probably the disclaimer for most when it says not available in these states. So this is probably just the disclaimer because I didn't actually click on the site. I'm just reading the
Dix
little
might just
blurb.
not sell it to those states too. So
Right, that's what I'm saying. It's probably just their disclaimer saying they're not messing with it.
right.
It says it's a non-NFA item.
Yeah, it's non NFA.
Yeah.
It's just a firearm.
All right, let me try something else. I typed in banned shotguns in Maryland, and the first little blurb that comes up, it says, I don't know. I don't know when it's dated. I'm assuming it's the most recent one because it's the top of the list. It says list of 81 pistols, rifles, and shotguns banned by Maryland Governor Martin O'Malley. May 16.
81 different shotguns?
Yeah, it looks like it was back in 2012. Well, no, it's a combination of pistols, rifles,
Oh,
and shotguns.
oh okay. I'm about to say, what do you do? Ban every damn model of shotgun that's made?
All right, let's see. Okay. Let's see. Let's see what this one says. Here's the list of the 81 that are banned. All right, let's see. So I guess it would be under M. All right, the Mossberg Model 500 Bullpup Assault Shotgun is banned. I'm just gonna have to go through this. I mean, this is a pretty long list. I'm just looking for everywhere where it says shotgun. Okay, let's see. Let me go back. Okay, the FIE/Frenchy Law 12 and SPAS 12 assault shotgun. Whatever that means, that's banned. You can't have that here.
Yeah, the SPAS 12. That's shotgun. It's both semi-auto and pump. It's a strange. No, Jurassic Park, the shotgun that Samuel L. Jackson had when he was going to fix the generator, that he sat down on top of it, and then the raptor got him. He's like, "Ooh, clever girl." That
Yeah.
shotgun. That's the
Okay.
SPAS.
Okay. And then the Holmes Model 88 shotgun. Can't have that. I already said the bullpup. Okay, let's see. This is funny. Street sweeper assault type shotgun.
Yeah, those things don't work for shit anyway. Oh my, that's one of the worst shotgun designs ever.
All right, let me get back. There was another one right next to the street sweeper. Okay, the Striker 12 assault shotgun in all formats. And then we have a Daewoo USAS 12 semi-auto shotgun. That's gone. And that's the end of the list for shotguns.
Okay, so yeah,
But I'm not sure when this was updated because this is quoting that same May 16th, 2012, Martin O'Malley governor. He's been gone for some time.
there haven't been really any new shotguns released. Anything that's on the market now pretty much would have been on the list then. I mean, even the Shockwave is just a variation of the 590. Or that's what I'm saying. If the 590 isn't on the banned list, you shouldn't have any trouble getting one of those retro ones. It's just the 590 or the 500 because they have the 500 and the 590 in that retro series. It's just old school like wood furniture instead of the polymer on them. That 590A1 though, it looks sweet as hell with the wood furniture on it. That's what I'm wanting to do to my Shockwave is put wood furniture on it.
All right, Tim Schmidt from USCCA just sent me my concealed carry map and ban or 2019 updated firearms laws. That was pretty easy. I just sent them my email address and they just sent me a copy of it. All right, let's see. That's handgun registry. Yeah, I would imagine that unless they're new, if it's been on the list, then it's going to stay on the list.
Yeah, I mean, there really hasn't been anything new in the way of shotguns, other than like maybe the KSG or what's the other one? The what is that other one? DB something or other. God, I can't remember the name of it. But one of the ones that has the two tubes and everything. Yeah, those are the only things really. And then you get um, the Tavor shotgun. If that thing ever hits market, I don't know if it has or not. I haven't seen anything about it. But those are anything really, as far as innovation in shotguns are concerned. Everything else is still the same old pump or semi-auto or single shot shotgun. Henry's got lever action shotguns, but those have been around for years too. So those go all the way back to the 1800s. So it's like there really hasn't been much in the way of innovation with shotguns.
I had never heard of it until just recently, but my boss got him and his son the Charles Davies.
Charles Daly.
That's it. Shotguns.
Yeah.
Yeah, they got for Christmas. He got the all black one and then the camo one, and
Yep.
a bunch of 3.5-inch shells.
Wasn't it Charles Daly that gun snob one from
Yeah,
Ghost?
I think so. Yeah, yeah, he was talking about that last night.
Yep. Yeah, it was one of their the Charles Daly 12 gauge, if I remember right. No, not 12 gauge, 20 gauge.
20 gauge, yeah.
20 gauge.
That's pretty cool that they did that. Plus, Guitar Man Pete was a part of doing that too. That's really cool.
Yeah, and then FedEx screws it all
Yeah, that sucks.
up. I feel sorry for Foose being put on the spot because he works for FedEx.
Yeah. You got a couple people out there. You want to get into your news story?
Yeah, I'm stuck in panelists. I mean, is I don't like talking news stories unless we got more than two people because you don't get as many different opinions on it. You know,
Yeah.
and we were already talking about it before the show. It's like we're just going to be parodying each other essentially.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Because I'm pretty confident that you and I see it the same way.
Yeah. And in case anybody out there is wondering, we're talking about the situation with that 7-year-old girl that was shot in her mother's car in Houston. And if you haven't seen the story, I'll touch on it a little bit, I guess. Something to talk about, right? Let me screen share this. Fine. All right, yeah. You can see here the shooting of the 7-year-old little black girl in Houston, and he had a bunch of all the usual suspects. Oh, it's a white supremacist because of this is the sketch they had. They were the family and stuff when they were talking to him. This is the description they gave, and he was driving a red pickup. Yada yada. It turns out this poor guy here in this sketch was just an innocent bystander who, when the shots started firing, got the hell out of Dodge. He wasn't sticking around. The shooters, one was a 20-year-old black guy, and the shooter was a 24-year-old black guy. Yeah, Larry Woodruff, 24. He was arrested and he's believed to have been the actual shooter. And then the driver was, what is his name? Something Black. It's here somewhere. Find it. Anyway, they're all, it's racist. It was a white supremacist, yada, yada, yada. The usual stuff that you get. Black Lives Matter. Oh, it was racist. And Sean King, who is one of the members of the Young Turks, white guy, acts like he's a black guy.
Yeah.
That asshat. Here's the name of the driver, Eric Black Jr. He was the driver, and they weren't even. They were driving in a Kia. So I don't know how anybody got a white guy driving a red pickup confused with two black guys in a Kia. But yeah, okay. That's what we're looking at here.
Well, you get a lot of the same news coverage that I get. So I'm sure you've heard plenty of the stories recently, but you know, the synagogue having whatchamacallit, swastikas painted on it, and they flipped out that there was racism and anti-Semitism, and it turned out it was somebody from the synagogue did it to their own synagogue.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. Yep. See that all the time. There was one. What was it? A Muslim woman recently saying that somebody was attacking her and she faked the whole thing and everything. So, yep, get that a lot. But I mean, I was shocked. Sean King actually came out and said he was wrong. That might be the first. Hell may have just frozen over. I have never seen Sean King admit that he was wrong about anything.
well, normally what he would say is, this time the racist white people didn't do it, but what about the 400 years? Sean King is the worst part about him is he's stupid and racist. And that's a bad combination to be
Right.
really that stupid and really that racist.
Yeah, I don't know how many. If you guys can see his little picture of himself right there, He is not a black guy by any stretch. He thinks he is, but you look at that. He's like that woman who was working for the NAACP. Where was it, in Seattle? Who's now,
Rachel Dolezal.
yeah, she's now facing charges for welfare fraud. She goes to court. I think tomorrow's when her first court appearance is. So, but yeah, he's definitely not a black guy. He might want to pretend he is. I mean, maybe he played a black guy in a school play once or something. I don't know. But yeah, he's definitely not. But yeah, he's one of those race baiters that's always out there as soon as something like this comes out. It's racism. It's racism. This is the first time I've ever actually seen him backtrack and say, "Nope, I was wrong." It really is surprising to see him say that he was wrong about that. It's wrong. It's surprising to see anybody from the Young Turks say they were wrong about something.
Yeah, that's what I was getting ready to say. Cenk don't allow that kind of stuff.
Yeah, he's probably gonna be in trouble at work tomorrow. You never say you were wrong.
Of course.
We're trying to have a serious discussion here. You never say you were wrong. It's bullshit. It's bullshit.
Yeah, Anna Kasparian is a perfect example of how leftism destroys a female. When she first started working with the Young Turks, back when they had their TV channel, she was really pretty. And every time I look at her now, she looks more and more like a crackhead.
Well, did you ever see back on I think it was on Pat and Stu when they were showing different left wing women when they were younger. You ever
Yeah,
see a picture of Rachel Maddow when she was in high school?
there's all kinds of stuff on the internet about that. You know, this beautiful, beautiful girl when she was 18 and now she's 30 and she's got 6 nose rings and pink hair and black lipstick on.
Yeah, they were showing pictures of Rachel Maddow when she was, I think, a junior. She was a knockout. Now look at her now. Like, now she's trying to look like a guy or something. Like, what the hell? What do you people do to yourselves?
It's leftism, I'm telling you. Leftism does something to you, just like being strung out on drugs. You can't go around angry
Yeah.
and hateful and looking for every reason to be pissed off all day, every day,
You
and it
want to
not affect you.
hear something really crazy?
Go for it.
Nancy Pelosi, when she was younger, was a beauty queen. She
Nancy Pelosi.
won, yeah, she won numerous local beauty pageants where she grew up.
If she would have teeth that fit her mouth, she'd still be a pretty woman at 78 years old. Like, I can believe Nancy Pelosi was good looking back in the day, but she's just such a evil looking monster now. It's disgusting to think about it.
Yeah, she won. There was a what's where I was. Damn it, where the hell was it? Did I see that? But she won some. The picture they had was her wearing a one piece bathing suit. Having just won some beauty pageant for a local car dealership or something. You gotta wonder what causes this with these women. Good Lord, what you do to yourself?
That's what I'm saying. Going around being pissed off all day, every day, it makes you sick.
Yeah,
Let me see if we can get Nanny P up on the screen here. You see it right there?
yep.
You know, I don't know how old she is in this picture, but, you know, she's not a bad looking woman right there. But she also doesn't look like that monster that we see nowadays either.
Yeah. And she doesn't look like Skeletor with skin.
That.
Yeah.
Look how big those teeth are. Like, that's Jimenez tooth right there.
Have you ever seen her daughter? Oh my God, her daughter is a dog.
Oh, yeah.
We're gonna get all kind. We're gonna get a strike for this now. But yeah, her daughter is not an attractive woman by any stretch of imagination.
No, not at all. And she's twice as stupid as her mom is.
Nancy Pelosi will cut your head off and you won't even know you're bleeding. Well,
Right.
gee, yeah, you just had your head cut off. You probably wouldn't realize you're bleeding.
And that's a wonderful thing to say about your mom.
Yeah. Oh, and she was saying it in reference to Donald Trump, so that makes it even worse.
Now, for me, the way I would say that is, I'll cut your head off if you mess with my mom. I would never say that my mom will cut your head off. I mean, that's stupid.
Yeah, yeah, it was really, really stupid.
We're just being immoral, like the wall.
Um, yeah,
Yeah.
it's better to have to spend 155 billion a month on illegals than to build a $5 billion wall.
Well, even a bunch of that money that they're spending on helping out illegals and poorer countries are for abortions. There's a huge chunk of money in that appropriations bill or whatever you call it that's set aside for abortions in Mexico, abortions in Honduras, abortions in Brazil.
Can we retroactively just go and abort the Democrats that are in Congress right now?
And I sure look, the one guy, Hank something, I can't remember what his name is now. The older black dude, kind of tall. He uh he came out with the impeachment, the statement about impeachment. Now that's the same guy that said if you put too many Marines on one side of Guam, the island will tip over.
Yeah, yeah. And he also said if you put too many bombers, the island will sink. Like, this guy has no concept of how islands work. At this point, the Democratic Party in Congress has become a contest of who can say the stupidest thing. I swear to God, that's what it's becoming. You get what's her name, who dumbass from where's the Bronx. Oh, how are you going to pay for it? Well, you just pay for it.
Sorry about that. I got button happy.
It's like somebody she was talking about how we got to give everybody Medicaid and blah blah blah, and she was asked how are you going to pay for it? She's like, you just pay for it. With what, idiot?
Well, the point that you're talking about, Ocasio Cortez.
Yes.
The point that she was trying to make, if she'd have been able to like actually speak English and express herself, would have been all right to make, because what she was saying is, you say, how do you pay for it? And her answer was, well, how, that doesn't make any sense. Why do you say, how do you pay for something that's cheaper? But
No, no,
she's
no,
so
no,
derelict in the way she speaks,
no.
she
The
can't.
question was, how is the government going to pay for it? And she's like, you just pay for it.
Well, yeah, but she also said that you're paying for something that's cheaper.
Yeah, it's
So
but it's
theoretically, she's
not.
right. If it's $10 today and you can afford it today, when it's $5 tomorrow, you can still afford it.
Well, no, you wouldn't be paying. The government would be paying. She
Well, of
wants to
course.
socialize it and
Yeah,
make it where the government's paying for it. And the question was, how is the government going to pay for it? She's like, you just pay for it.
yeah. Believe me, I'm not saying that she's not a moron. She's definitely a moron. I think the government's way too big. It needs to stay shut down until people decide that half these jobs aren't necessary.
A saying they act on emotion and not logic. That's why they sound like idiots. I don't know. Some of them, I don't know if they have emotions.
The dangerous part is they think that they're being logical.
Yeah. It's just common sense. Anytime you hear a liberal say it's just common sense, it's not common sense.
No, there's nothing ever common sense about it, and they're just all wordsmiths anyway. Because 10 years ago it was gun control. Now it's common sense gun safety measures.
And
Where
remember, it's not just liberals on the Democratic Party; it's liberals. Period. Anytime you hear any liberal say it's just common sense, it's not common sense because we're getting Republicans now coming out with this. It's common sense bullshit. Marco Rubio, Mitt Romney, the list goes on and on. I think they're vying to take the place of Flake and McCain.
Well, that's why I always say embrace conservatism. You know, I type that in every time I get on a political chat. Embrace conservatism. It's the only thing that's going to save this nation is for people to stand up for conservatism and don't save the comment on the libertarian. Only thing a libertarian is somebody who thinks they're cool and doesn't want to admit they're conservative. You know, so keep keep voting for the third parties. That's fine. Just and I get it. You can't trust the Republicans, but in the Republican Party is where you're going to find the conservatives at, and the conservatives are the people that are on our side. You know, the Second Amendment side, the freedom side. Republicans are not. Democrats clearly are not.
Yeah. Well, third party is why we got Joe Manchin going back to the Senate.
Well, that's what people keep screaming about. Trump is an idiot. Trump is stupid. I hate Trump. I disagree with him. I think it's absolutely a snake in the grass move to ban the bump stocks. There's been a couple really swampy things that he's done that I thought he said he was going to do the opposite. But then there's a whole truckload of stuff that he said he was going to do and did exactly what he said he was going to do. So for everybody belly aching that they're not going to vote for Trump, go ahead and take your guns, throw them in the wood chipper now, and then take your money and put it in the mailbox and mail it to the government. Because you go ahead and give the Democrats a full Senate, a full House, and the presidency, and see what you get. You'll be begging for Donald Trump to come back.
And I forget what I was going to say. Something I forget what it was.
That's all right.
It's just one of those days.
That's okay, Black Cat. I still love you, brother. He said, I'm a libertarian, definitely not a conservative. Sorry. That's okay, man. I think that me and you are pretty much on the same side of almost any kind of discussion. So,
Yeah. Well, it's a shame the discussion me and Black Cat had like what was that, like 3 weeks ago, where you were working RL and it was at their midnight chat. We just kept on going with just the two of us. We talked your whole shift. Shame
yeah,
that wasn't live. That would have been an interesting show.
he, Black Cat just said, so we shouldn't call him out on his unconstitutional bullshit either. And I
No,
say,
no, call him
absolutely,
out.
we should.
Always.
We should definitely be the loudest in the crew.
Yeah,
Anybody who checked his name on election day should be the loudest of the people calling him out when he does something stupid.
yeah.
But
Call him. If anytime any politician does something stupid, you got to call him out.
you're going to vote for Mitt Romney? Is that what we're going to do? Are we going to primary Donald Trump and vote for Mitt Romney? John
Oh,
Kasich?
oh God. Yeah, they're another asshats.
Like it or not, Donald Trump's the best thing we got going right now. And yes, I'm no Trump uh, pocket swinger. There's a lot of stuff that I don't agree with what he does, but he, the alternative is to Donald Trump is far, far worse than anything Donald Trump has done. Yeah, I like Rand Paul too. Uh, there's some things about like Rand Paul wants to bring home close all the military bases and bring home all the soldiers. What are we going to do with them when they get here? Have 100,000 unemployed people.
Did Rand say that? Because I know his dad did.
His dad said that, so I'm more of a Ron Paul follower than Rand Paul. I don't know as much about Rand as I do Ron, so I may be getting them mistaken. So if I'm wrong about that, I apologize.
Yeah, I don't remember. No, I'm asking because I don't remember if Rand said it or not. Cause I know his dad did.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure. I do know that Ron said it, but I can't say
Yeah,
for
his
sure that
his
Rand
dad's
said it.
more extreme on that kind of stuff than he is.
Yeah. and I'm not interested in legalizing all drugs. You know, there's nothing, there's no way you can convince me that any form of legal heroin or methamphetamine is a good idea, or crack or cocaine. It's just you're not going to convince me of that.
Yeah, I think I've made my view on that stuff clear enough times. I don't want to get into that right now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's way too deep. You know,
Not saying I disagree with you. I just don't want to get into that conversation.
no, I don't blame you. Rupan saying what's up.
Yep, I saw. Hey, Rupan. There's some guys out there I probably should have sent links to and didn't even think about it. Black Cat, A&A, Rupan, you guys want a link?
That's one of the things that I enjoy about the Gun Challenge crew too. Is like, just for instance, you know, there's one specific thing that we're talking about that Black Cat and I weren't seeing exactly eye to eye, but I don't hold any type of ill feelings to him. I'd stand beside him in any rainstorm. You know, I think he's a great guy, and I can imagine that me disagreeing with him on something isn't going to cause him to hate me either. You know, where in other crowds, if you don't agree with me exactly, then I don't want to talk to you anymore.
Have A&A or Black Cat said they want to link him getting Rupan set up because he said please when I asked. So I know whether to CMC them in. You looking at the chat?
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. Black Cat said he can't jump in. He's getting ready to go to bed.
Okay. What about A&A? You say anything?
I'll text him real quick and see.
Well, he was out there in the chat. I don't,
Well, that's what I mean. I'm not too sure if he's talking to somebody on the chat or if he was paying attention.
yeah, I don't think he's paying attention.
He said if you
Yeah,
want, yeah.
I saw. I'm not gonna remember what his email is.
That's right. Black Cat's got the Pittsburgh thing going on tomorrow. Tomorrow's Monday the 7th.
Yeah,
Patriot in the Dark is in the house.
yeah, I sent him a link already. Patriot never comes in when I send him links. He's just antisocial when it comes to my show.
That's the man, the myth, the legend, Patriot in the Dark, according to Rick.
Yeah, man, the myth, the legend. Patriot North 2020. Is that Oliver North Patriot? Is that why Ollie North took the NRA job? He's using it as a stepping stone to be your VP. Yeah, I know why, Patriot. I'm just busting your balls, brother. I know your daughter. You gotta get your daughter ready for bed and everything. I get it. I had kids that age one time. Hey, A&A, you there?
Hola, what is up?
Yeah.
No, I was just chilling in the chat, dude. I mean, I'll jump in. I don't care. I'm just hanging out. I was gonna go to the Pittsburgh thing tomorrow, and I got notified last week, and I was telling Black Cat, I said, right now this time of year my work is so sporadic. I might get overtime in 4 days, and I might only get 2 days a week, but right now I can't pass it up. I have no vacation time. And he called me last week and said, need you to work Monday, and I went, okay. So it's hard to pass the money up at this point in time, you know.
Yeah, like me and David were talking. If he was able, if it was next week, he would have been able to go, and then I would have had a ride with him. But at the same time, my wife also would be off next Monday, so then we could have went with my wife. You know, we could have met David somewhere, and the three of us could have rode together. But you know, at this point, you know, because he has to work tomorrow, my wife has to work tomorrow. I have no way of getting there.
Yeah, and you're not far.
Yeah, not far, but it's a hell of a long walk.
Yeah, Dave, you're not. I mean, honestly, we're all within not a few hundred, but you know, when you talk about we're not in Texas or we're not in, you know, we're all within close proximity that we could have done it. But yeah,
You need
it's what
an
it
Uber?
is.
Yeah.
You want me to send you an Uber?
An Uber.
It's like an hour and a half drive from here.
What's up?
Yeah, it's a little farther for me, but I'd have to calculate Pittsburgh. I think it's probably 7-8 hours. It's been a while since I drove it over the road, so
It's anywhere from 2 to 3 hours from where I'm at to get just straight to Pittsburgh.
Yeah, if you would have came this way, it would have been an hour and a half to get here, and then from here go up, take 40, you know, take 68 to Lake Kaiser's Ridge, and then hit 40, and then 40 to Uniontown, and then take I think it's 219 between 40 and 51, and take 51 straight into Pittsburgh from there. But, yeah.
Ben, what's up, you man?
Yo. Hey, you guys think an airsoft stock will work on my MP5?
It might. It might. It might. I can tell you this, that a friend of mine bought a Roni stock for his clock, and he asked the guy, he says, wait a minute, it says airsoft only. He says, they're the same thing. It'll work. I'm like, gotcha. So,
I mean, this is a little different, but the thing is, MP5, like the 83 style retractable stocks, like $500. But an airsoft one, you can get one for 80, or you can get one for like $37. And the one that is 80 looks almost exactly like the $500 one. Obviously, it's probably a world apart, but
yeah.
I mean,
with a 9mm, if the plastic's sturdy enough.
yeah, I mean, it's a joke though. I mean, it's only, I mean, if it's a drop in the hat compared to 500, it's not like, you know, not if you're running around doing crazy guy stuff.
Yeah, it's not like you're firing a 308 out of it.
That's what I was going to say. My suggestion. I mean, you're saying you can get it for 30, 40, whatever bucks. Spend the money, see if it'll work. You'd be surprised. Some of that airsoft stuff is built pretty good, because those guys are running and jumping just like you would with the real gun. You're not out much if it doesn't fit, and flip it. I mean, you know, just my thoughts on it.
Yeah,
and
like the $80 one, it looks, the $37 one, like you can kind of tell it looks like a little chintzy, and it's got some like weird holes in it. But when you look at the $80 one, it literally looks just like the $500 one. Doesn't mean it is, obviously, but
what's the worst thing that could happen?
it blows apart and while it's against my shoulder.
The stock cracks.
Yeah, it's gonna crack, and yeah, a spring might come flying out.
That's pretty bad then.
Wait a minute, on an MP5, isn't the recoil system all contained within the receiver? It doesn't go into the stock.
No, see, the thing is this would be the rear butt cap that is where the recoil hits. So I don't know. Well, the other thing is, like, HK Parts has some other stuff there too. They got like an M4 adapter, but that's $115, and then they have an Ace adapter for $60. So anywhere you go, it's just crazy. I shouldn't do anything. I should just leave it the way it is. But
oh, that's funny. What you got, an MP5 or is it a Zenith?
I have no idea what it is. Isn't
it an HK?
Probably not. I just don't. It's a Bobcat Weapons BW5.
Huh.
So who knows where it's from?
Hmm.
I mean, I've
Might be
changed a couple.
kit build.
It's a parts kit build, but what I don't know. I tried like Googling around a little bit, and I couldn't find like a website that would give me all the information. So
How
I
much did
couldn't
it
find.
cost?
It was 1,081, and I put probably like.
HK parts kit. If
I
it costs that much.
Well, yeah, it can't be, but I had to put like 350 into it because it wasn't working.
Yeah.
I have an HK lower on there with a fake double pin. The second pin is like the cut ends of each side of a pin, and it's glued in place, so it looks like there's a full auto pin.
It's glued and not like riveted from the inside. It's just glued.
Well, you can't have the double pin lower.
Well, yes,
you have a machine gun.
I'm saying
So,
you said it was glued.
They cut, like they put a pin in a jig, and then they cut each side off the pin, and then they like slid it into the holes. So even though there's a semi-auto shelf
right
under there, it looks like you have a second pin.
Right. Yeah.
Unless if you like take a look at it, you're like, what the fuck?
I just saying they glued it in. They didn't like stake it or spot weld it. They just glued it.
Probably high temp epoxy.
Well,
stuff
it's a polymer strong. Lower. It's a polymer lower. So.
Oh, okay. Well, then there's plenty of polymer glues that would have done that. I thought it was metal. So.
Oh, I don't have the HK94. I think had the metal lowered, but this is a new production HK MP5 lower.
Yeah, I mean, even with the metal frame, there's glues out there. In a 9mm firearm, you're not gonna at that size. You're not gonna have a whole bunch of recoil that's gonna knock those pins loose either. You could, with a metal. If it was a metal receiver, you probably still glue those pins in using a high strength epoxy.
Hey, what springs are you talking about, Patriot? He asked if it has springs in it. I had to change. I changed the roller springs.
That's a joke. He's joking because somebody on this channel,
okay.
they didn't comprehend what a stripped AR lower was.
Yes. Okay, I was there for that.
That's where Patriot was going with that.
Yeah. So in the end, I had to replace the ejector, the extractor, the springs, the trigger box, the lower itself, because it was crooked and real loose, and that's what caused everything to get effed up. And then just for fun, I changed the roller springs. The roller spring, it's a spring, so I put a new spring in there, and everything works. I put 150 rounds through it, only had one malfunction.
So how much do you have into this thing total, initial price, and all the stuff you've upgraded? Just curious.
I'll tell you right now.
Rough guess,
Yeah, there we go. And we're looking at like just under $1,500, like $1,430.
You probably could have bought a Zenith for that much. That would have just worked great. And by the way, I was just popped into my head. I can swear last year it shot. Everybody was ranting and raving that I believe Palmetto was supposed to come out with an MP5 clone.
Yep, they're still working on that. HK is bringing out their own US made one. They're going to be building them in that factory in Georgia.
Are they going to be cheaper than their imports? Because they're not cheap.
I don't remember what they were saying the MSRP was going to be, but yeah, HK themselves are supposed to be making them in this country.
All I can say is one of the most fun full autos I've ever shot, other than an MG42. Because come on, it's an MG42. The MP5K, that was the little one, short barrel, folding stock. Owner of the gun store I worked for, he had several full autos, but that was one of them, and that was just the most fun little frickin' gun. You had semi 3 and then full, and it was just a fun gun. I can't help it,
Full auto Galil's fun.
Let me see. Did I ever? No,
I have.
I'm trying to think. See, this is the thing. We used to have our machine gun shoots, once a year, and anybody that had a class 3 gun, bring it out. Well,
my grandfather had one. So.
everybody would bring their guns out and they'd, here, you want to shoot? Well, yeah, of course I want to shoot. It hands you a I don't care what gun. They hand you a loaded mag in the gun, you know, sure. But I'm, it's funny you mentioned that, Rich. I don't think I ever have shot a Galil.
Yeah, but just to answer Patriot's question, since I don't think we ever actually answered it. No, yeah, it's not Porky Piggin, Patriot. It's not Porky Piggin.
Porky Piggin.
Have any of you guys ever fired a Mark 19 grenade launcher?
No.
Nope.
Is that the semi-auto? Boop, 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 boop.
It's full auto.
Oh,
Yeah, it's full
okay.
auto.
Either way, yeah, that it's belt fed, I believe.
Yeah.
And they have the revolver grenade launchers too. I have fired one of those.
Hey, you know, you just say grenade launcher, it makes me giggle. So
I think one of the most iconic sounds, though, has to be, I don't know, the M2 sounds cool when you hear an M2 Browning, but I think the 240 Bravo makes an awesome sound, especially if you're in like a shoot house, like a concrete jungle.
Well, apparently Rob D is saying that he fired the Mark 19. He said, yes, and I loved it.
Oh, yeah.
what'd you say, the 249?
The 240 Bravo.
240.
It makes a very iconic sound, especially in a shoot house where there's not like a concrete jungle.
Probably very loud.
What is the cyclic rate on those things? I know they're pretty quick.
With the Mark 19 or the 240 Bravo?
240 Bravo.
I don't remember offhand.
Gee, don't make me Google it.
The 700 rounds a minute.
Yeah, it's not really.
Like 650, 700, somewhere around there.
It's not really fast, but it's not like it's slow. It's not like M2 slow.
Yeah, it's faster than what you're gonna be able to pull a trigger on an AR-15, but it's not M16 or 249 speed either. Yeah.
Let me see. 550 to 650 per minute.
Okay.
That's what Wikipedia is saying.
I was in the ballpark.
Yeah, you know, the AK and the AR are on full auto or right in that area too, that depending on how they're set up. So 249. Let's see what that one is.
Well, it's like 600 to 800 depending on, isn't it? I could be off with that one too.
I don't know. 1,000 rounds a minute, 750 to or 1,000 rounds, depending on.
Yeah.
So that's what I was thinking. The 249. Come on, it's the 24s that get me messed up. But yeah, it was the 249 I was thinking of. I knew it was. That's the SAW, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I know I've heard them things fire. I wasn't in the military to hear them fire, but I've been around them, and it's like, oh, it's pretty quick.
Yeah, there's a reason why you don't mag. Those aren't mag fed very often. I mean, they have the capacity, but don't do it. That's one of those ones you hold that trigger for 2 seconds and you're having to reload another mag.
Well, I mean, someone told me if you double the springs up in a M16 mag, you can it'll work, but I don't know if I believe that.
What do you mean double the springs up? How are you going to do that? One inside the other, or?
You know, you just put 2 springs inside one mag. You shove them in there and you close the. I never tried it. I never cared.
Well,
I honestly don't even think I ever put an M16 mag in the hole where you put an M16 mag.
I've never seen anybody do it. You're supposed to be able to. I've never seen anybody do it.
Well,
I never did it with mine.
If you stack 2 springs, then you're eating up. I don't know. What is that compressed spring? About an inch. So you're going to have less rounds if you double the springs. You see where I'm coming from?
Yeah. Well, no, not in a row. Like you put them together in there. I don't know. It was with some other.
In other words,
some other combat engineer told me. I don't know if I believe him.
Yes, there is a way you could do that. They're still going to stack on each other, but not.
Yeah. Well, Rob D says 850 in his handbook.
My freaking engineerish type brain is thinking about it now.
Yeah, the 850 is probably the average rate of fire. It's usually what you've seen. The manual will be the average.
All I know is I haven't shot any full auto in a long time, and I miss it. I used to get to do it all the time, and it's so much fun. I watch these people shoot full auto. I'm like, it's so much fun.
Yeah, I can do that at the range I belong to anytime. But yeah, since I'm a member at the highest level, I get free full auto rentals.
Oh, you get
the ammo
free. Ooh.
Yeah, just thinking of the ammo scares me. All the ammo I wasted in the army. I can only imagine.
Like, my brother was in the army. He was in Fulda Gap, Germany. He was over there when the wall came down, but he told me that they were allotted X amount, and you knew this if you were in the military, and they allotted them X amount of ammo, and you're going to go out and do maneuvers, and you're going to fire. And he told me that the one time they went out, there was 4 of them. There's a deuce and a half or whatever the latest truck was at that time sitting there full of ammo. And they said, it's full of 50 caliber Browning ammo. Shoot the machine gun. They had 2 of them. They said they'd fire one until the barrel started to glow, and then they'd take turns. He said it got boring after a while. And that was them burning up ammo because this is what you were allotted, show that we're using it.
Well, we just throw it in the woods. So.
Well, yeah, but if I did that, I'd do it in an ammo can in a plastic bag and bury it somewhere and go, where's my GPS?
Gun. Otherwise, you got to clean the gun all day long.
Going back for that stuff.
A million years.
Yeah.
It sounds like fun to clean a gun and tell you that's your job every day. Clean the floor and clean the gun.
You know, the funny thing is, man, is I used to be the stickler for cleaning them. And my brother, channel partner, he just got into shooting, not 2 years ago. And he's hooked. He's reloading now, and he's making some mistakes. None of them are catastrophic, just sizing mistakes and things like that. And, things I've tried to say, I told you, you're learning. You need to do this. Oh, okay. And he tends to jump the gun a little bit. He tells me, he's like, oh, I enjoy cleaning guns. I think that's half the fun. And I'm like, you just don't shoot enough then.
Cleaning the guns. That's the kid's job. Hey, we went shooting. Guess what? We bought the ammo. You kids get to clean the guns now.
Honestly, though, what a great way to teach them how the gun works. Teach them gun safety. Teach them, proper maintenance, really. I mean, I did it with my kids. I mean, I didn't do it a lot, but it didn't take much with them. My son is...
my grandfather, my stepfather, my uncles, if we went shooting with them, we got home, we were cleaning the guns. So we understood how they operated and whatnot.
Rob D said his Claymores was his favorite thing to play with. Talk about a brush hug. LOL. I'd have to say a shape charge and the cratering charges were the coolest. When
a Claymore would make an interesting weapon to go hog hunting
with. What about a shape charge? You said it wired up as a booby trap, and the hog walks by, bait it.
Yeah, but you might not have anything of the hog left at that point.
Well, no.
Well, I mean, you blow a 7-foot hole.
I mean, with the
I was just gonna say it just burn a hole straight through it.
I'm talking about the Claymore. I was just
put it next to it, so then it blows the hole in the ground underneath it. And
yeah,
you have a hog in a hole.
And you keep your gun with you, so when the one hog blows up and the other ones start freaking out, you can just start plugging all those with your gun.
If you're using a Claymore, you're going to take out the whole freaking group of.
Yeah,
if you use a cratering charge, that would blow all the whole.
They'll make more of them. I mean,
I'd blow them all to bits.
Look at it. There's plenty of hogs around. How often do you get to blow up a Claymore? So they'll make more hogs.
Yep, he's got to go to the shower. Oh, today was my son's first time shooting. He fired like 6 rounds, 22 long, out of my Keystone little Arctic Warfare Magnum copy.
That's pretty awesome. There was 6 little kids at the range today. From the time I only stayed for about an hour, So from the time that it opened to the hour that I stayed, there were 6. I'm talking about like little kids, and all of them had their own firearm in their case and carrying it down to the sign up station. So that was pretty cool to hear that, you know, a bunch of little kids are getting some shooting in.
Maryland doesn't consider that child abuse yet.
No, but the thing that's changed at my range is everyone has to sign in. So if you bring in a 4-year-old, you got to sign that 4-year-old in. If you bring in a 15-year-old, they got to sign in. Where before it was, I think anything under 10, you didn't have to sign them in.
Weird, yeah. My fiance doesn't want me to put. That's pretty cool, David. My fiance didn't want me putting any information on social media because some of her sisters recently tried to convince her that I shouldn't have any guns in the house, and that I could potentially turn into a mass shooter one of these days.
Better watch out.
Red flag laws.
Yeah.
Don't worry, those red flag laws are no big deal.
Oh, yeah. So these people are trying to put ideas in her head, and it's like, are you fucking for real? Like, Jesus. It's probably just because I'm white. Honestly.
Red flag laws are nothing more than a foot in the door for them to, and they can red flag anybody they want. Just like you said, somebody could say, "Oh, you," and somebody, okay, we're going to red flag you. We're going to take all your stuff, and they're going to cook up all kinds of things about you and use it, even though they were unjust. They're still going to blast it in the media. Oh, he had this much guns and ammo. These red flag laws are working. We need to do more. When in actuality, the person that they red flagged and invaded his privacy and took his private property did absolutely nothing, was a law-abiding citizen and would do anything to defend his friends, neighbors, and had no intention of doing any ill will. But that won't be the way the media plays it. And it's just the red flag's just an open gate.
California's working on amending their red flag law to where they can confiscate your ammunition and your accessories as well.
Yep. So I didn't put anything on anything. Nothing on YouTube. Nothing on social media. There's no photos, no nothing. I got the target though. How
old is your son? You took your son out? How
6.
Old? That's awesome.
6. And we got to take the 9-year-old next.
Man, I'm 52. I'm probably older than most of you guys. When I was growing up, man, just going to the shooting range was normal. Going out shooting was just one of the things we did. I honestly, people say, when did you get into guns? I went, I can't remember not being into guns.
We had a shooting team when I was in high school.
Not our high school, but a very small town just north of us had a shooting team up until the late 90s. And of course, it got stupid and they did away with it. Different times. And, I said it earlier that liberals and they act on emotions and they play on emotions. And they, like I said, I was just saying about the red flag laws, they play on those emotions, and whatever the liberal media feeds them, they eat it and react on it. And whether you were a bad guy or not, they're going to make you out to look like one.
Yeah, here's the irony. We had junior ROTC. We had a shooting team in high school. You want to guess what city I went to high school in?
Baltimore.
No.
Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh, yeah. Where the rally is tomorrow. They want to ban guns. We had a shooting team in high school in the late 80s, early 90s.
So 25 years ago.
Yeah.
Here's a crazy thought. Speaking of how old I am, when I was a kid,
that would be 30 years ago. 89 was 30 years ago. Yeah.
Growing up, I saw Vietnam War at the end on TV, but when I heard, my uncle served in World War II, it was like, oh man, that's ancient history to me. I'm a kid. I'm looking back going, that wasn't ancient history to them. Shit, that was yesterday to them. Live long enough, watch history, watch it repeat itself, and watch how people don't use logic and pay attention to what's going on around them and what rights are being taken away.
Mm-hmm. I'm just glad we crushed ISIS so they didn't kill 2 British troops today.
Right.
Yeah. ISIS is
great job.
ISIS is no more. Yeah, okay. They just killed 2 British guys today and where. Yeah. But
ISIS, Al Qaeda. Yeah, call it what you want. It doesn't matter. You got, extremists. I put it in the side chat earlier. Somebody said something about Jewish, and I said, well, remember, Jewish is not a race. Christian or Muslim is not a race. It's a religion. But this ISIS, Al Qaeda, they're all one and the same to an extent, and there's always going to be evil. You're never going to get rid of evil. That's just as simple as it is. You can say, oh, we stopped them. We stomped them out. No, you didn't, because their kids are going to grow up and start it over again.
Yep. And the crazy thing is, you look is in China, where you have the Chinese going after the Uyghurs, whatever they call themselves, which are their version of Muslims, and they are radical Muslims, right? So you can see the Chinese wanting to crack down on them, but then they go and crack down on other religions too. It's like, why are you bothering them? They're not bothering you. I can see the other, but not the other. You know what I'm saying?
Well, the totalitarian government doesn't want you worshiping anybody but them.
Wait,
Yeah.
good night,
Bingo!
Rob
Yep.
Bingo, Kingpin. Bingo.
Good night, Rob D.
See you, Rob.
Yeah, later, Rob.
Yeah, they've got social media credits. The government's monitoring their social media and their internet usage, and if it's not up to par, or talking good enough about the government, and God forbid you say something bad about the government.
Mm-hmm. And we get that here too. So.
It's the same reason. It's the same reason that the left in this country is atheist everything, because if you let people believe in God, then there's a step above government. If you say God doesn't exist, then the government's the highest power.
Just about every socialist government that ever existed embraced atheism. You want to know why?
Yep.
Well, the leftists are atheist unless you're Muslim. Oh, and then, oh, no, they don't mean us no harm and blah, blah, blah. But
no, they're still atheists to Muslims. They're just, Islam's a religion of peace.
Yeah, I was just getting to that, because it's the backdoor liberal lefty come in this way. Yeah, seen it a million times.
It's identity politics to them.
Yeah,
there's less Muslims. There's less Muslims in this country than there are Christians and Jews. Yeah. So they're a social class now. Just like the one transsexual black Hispanic person from Mars is their own individual group now.
Yeah, but here's the thing: the left gets it wrong. See, Muslims aren't saying they're a religion of peace; they're saying they're a religion of pieces, because they want to turn you into pieces.
Aloha snack bar.
Yeah.
Plus, when they say that the radical Muslims are a small percentage, and then you actually start asking the people questions like, "What do you think about gays?" and they say that they're should have their heads cut off. Well, that's 100. That's like 100 million Muslims that believe that. That's not a small portion of people.
Here's the thing, right? They say that jihadists, everything is a small portion. But here's the thing: there's over 1 billion Muslims on the planet, according to estimates, right? They estimate that upwards of 20% of them are radicalized. Do the math. That's 200 million people.
Right.
I don't care how many people are on this planet. 200 million is a fucking lot of people.
And if we were, as whatever your religion might be, get 200 million people radicalized in the way that they are, how would we be looked upon? Point of view. In other words, say you had 200 million Christians out of X really, if we got radicalized and said we're going to start the Crusades over,
Crusades aren't even a good
right, exactly.
Anyhow, because the Crusades were actually started by Muslims.
Right, exactly.
Actually, the Crusades, yes, the Muslims and the church controlled the state, and the church did it for money. But let's just say we were going to start our own crusade with Christian or die.
Yeah, Europe was responding to what the Muslims had done. I mean, that's what the Crusades were. But Islam invaded the Holy Land. They were coming out of Persia, invaded the Holy Land, and then Europe, under the Pope's guidance, got together because that was Christendom, and they went and were trying to kick the Muslims back out again.
It went a lot farther than that, though. That's what I'm saying. I mean, it's like, honestly, it's like any war. It starts out, well, this is what we got to do, but you look at World War II, and who's going to control what territory now? I'm like, well, this is messed up, and that's war. That's how it works, and it be a religious war. And honestly, I'm going to say this: more people have died in the name of religion.
Not so much.
That's not even
religiously.
More people have died for socialism in the 20th century than died in every war prior, including the Crusades combined.
Yeah. You can start the 1919 revolution right there and just start counting, and that's hundreds and hundreds of millions of people.
Where's Vanessa Kitty and her math? We need her math. She's like the math goddess.
Hundreds of millions of people died in the 20th century in the name of socialism. It's insane.
And if you look at the Bible and you take it from just a plain non-spiritual, just look at it. The main characters lose through the whole Bible. The Jews aren't conquering warriors who win at the end. They get kicked in the teeth the whole way through the Bible. Jesus in the New Testament is killed. Spoiler alert, but he dies. So, and it gets treated like crap the whole time he was here. So it's not like a big pat on the back holy book. Then you look at the Quran, and all the Quran is about raping little children and cutting people's heads off.
Yeah.
So it's a clear distinction between a spiritual book and a warlord's book.
Yeah, but here's an interesting factoid. Okay, more people died in the 20th century as a result of socialism than the entire world population at the time of the Crusades.
Yeah.
The whole more people died in the name of religion is just it's a fallacy that it's just not true when you actually look at the numbers.
per capita back then. But I remember, this is funny you brought that up. I remember reading, oh God, where was it? God, this had to have been 15 years ago. That more people have lived and died than the population of the earth now.
Well, the people always they come out and tell you that we're overpopulating the earth now, which is totally not even true, because the vast majority of all people live on the coast wherever they live at.
Mm-hmm. We still have forests in this country that has not been touched. But if you got countries that have forests that hasn't been touched, you're not overpopulated.
I'll be back in just a second.
We might be considered overpopulated when you look at how many people are in a city or a small area. But if you get out into the Midwest and the plains, and
you spread those people out, and
there's I'm thinking, is it Wyoming or
Wyoming
that has more guns but less populous, and they're on more land.
Wyoming. You want to hear something funny about Wyoming? Wyoming has more senators than they have congressmen.
That's interesting.
They have one member of the House of Representatives, 2 senators.
Huh. Well, like I said, this whole overpopulation. Nah. I'm in Ohio. There's so much farmland around here that all you got to do is take 1/100th of this field and you could put 10 families on that. You see what I mean? It's like, no, we're not overpopulated.
Yellowstone is hundreds of miles. That, you know, it's primeval forest. I mean,
Right. Well, you know, you're talking national parks and whatever, but I'm just talking land that's.
oh yeah, so am I. I mean, it's land that's not being used as anything except for a tourist trap.
You live in the Appalachians, man. How much land is down there? I mean, mountains and all kinds of land. I mean,
I'm not actually in the Appalachians.
you're just on the edge of it. You're on the outer.
Just outside.
Yeah, little hilly there, but not mountainy.
Yeah.
No, I can tell you this, man, that you know, my family reunion, we talked about this. They get together near Canaan Valley, but my father grew up in Paulton, which is Paulton Holler. It's like, you know, a little mining community, blah blah blah. But anyway, man, you get in them areas and there's mountains. And I remember sitting with my son at one of our family reunions down there, and he says something, look at that little house over there. And I went, oh, over on that other mountain. And I got my spotting scope out and I dropped it down. I says, you mean that house, that mansion? Because it was that freaking big, but it was 4 miles away on the other side of a mountain. There's plenty of land, dude. There's plenty of land. We're not overpopulated. Maybe the inner cities are overpopulated, but the U.S. is not overpopulated.
Yeah. That's what I was saying. If you took people in the cities, I'd say leave them there because they're the ones screwing everything up. But if you were to spread them out west into what's national parks and stuff and like build little towns and stuff, you would still have forested areas out there that nobody had touched. It's just
we are not running out of room.
No. I mean, the whole state of Montana, you could put more people. The whole state of Wyoming, Idaho, Colorado, even. There's places where you can still put people that aren't populated right now.
Like I said, we could tap into 1/10 of all the farmland in this country. 1/10. And that'd be millions and millions of acres, but 1/10, very small, and house how many millions of people? We're not running out of room.
Don't give the Democrats any ideas. They'll try it. Next thing you know, you have a bunch of homeless living on your farm.
Well, if I had a farm and they were homeless, I might say, you want a job? Yeah, if I needed work or they needed work and I needed, but yeah.
I'm saying the government would be forcing them, but they have a refugee camp. Refugees from San Francisco.
Right. Would they be wearing their rainbows and stuff?
I don't know, but they might poo on your porch.
I just came up with a brilliant idea. Take all the vagrants in San Francisco, which is pretty much everybody in San Francisco, and trade them 1-for-1 for somebody at the border trying to get in right now.
I don't think that would improve anything.
Well, no, it could, because you could interview the person at the border, and when they're like, hey, I want to come get a really cool job and, have a decent life and not worry about starving to death or eating my dog. Be like, okay, well, here, we'll trade you for Nancy Pelosi. And here's a nice big mansion you can live in.
At the border have any kind of skills where they could get a good job?
We're replacing the people of San Francisco.
I
need to replace them.
I would agree with your whole analogy because it's funny because take Nancy Pelosi, but you got to remember these people at the border, they really don't want to work. They want the government handout. That's why they're here.
Were you here when we were talking about how some of these Democrats, when they were kids, were really hot, and now look at them?
I was listening to it. Yes, I know. Hey, it's funny because I remember, God, this has been 30 years ago when a friend of mine said, man, I'd do Hillary. And I looked at her back then and I look at her now and go, she wasn't bad back then. But back then I looked at her like, I'm not going to use the C word. You're no, I wouldn't even touch that because I just want to punch her anyway, and I don't believe in hitting women. And yeah,
She might
so
be into that.
yeah, better watch out. I might end up committing suicide with 2 rounds to the back of my head, right? Woohoo!
That was a botched robbery.
Yeah, right. Don't get me started.
Anyway, it's not liberalism that corrupt. It's the evil. The evil corrupts them and turns them into what they look like now.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Well,
So the baby's blood that they drank at night.
I can just say this: was Chelsea ever
No,
attractive?
no,
No.
never.
I mean, do you think Eddie Murphy's donkey character and whatever that Disney whatever? Yeah, that's when I see Chelsea. That okay. All right, man. I'm looking over my shoulder. I'm waiting for myself to commit suicide.
Chelsea Clinton looks more like Oscar Grouch's wife.
Yeah. Tell Anthony Bourdain we said hi.
Yeah.
or Joan Rivers.
Oh yeah.
Have you ever seen Oscar the Grouch's wife? That's what Chelsea looks like.
No,
Yeah,
I didn't know.
Oscar has a wife.
That's crazy.
He
I
has a
didn't know
whole
that.
family. They all live in his garbage can. Every so often, they would go down the garbage can, and his family would be there. She's basically an orange version of him, and so she's got that colorish hair. Yeah, that's what Chelsea looks like. She looks like Oscar's wife. Yep, definitely. Especially with that kinky hair she has.
I just see teeth. That's all I see.
What is the conspiracy? She's somebody at Hubble's.
Yeah, somebody else's daughter or something.
Yeah, somebody named Hubble.
Well, you know, her daddy got around. Her mama probably got around. They was probably swingers. So, you know.
Well, the story there is that Hillary swings from both sides of the plate.
Well, we all know old Hitler, he likes to, yeah. All righty then. And Bill Clinton's cigars.
Yeah, Bill Clinton thinks women are humidors. Took you long enough.
I was on mute. I'm sorry. I was laughing. I was halfway through my laugh when I hit unmute.
You want to say anything controversial, Ruben?
We've been saying all kinds of controversial shit.
Negative.
Ain't gonna hurt nothing now, right?
We started the show controversial. We were talking about women's looks, for Christ's sake. Surprised we're still on the air.
Speaking of which, did you catch the other night? I was on his chat tonight. Never enough, Mr. Matt. Did you catch the other night with the Yankee Marshal and the alt-right? And dude, the N-word was flying, and they weren't insulting, but they were using it. And dude, man, it was.
Yeah, I heard that was special. I haven't watched it.
Well, and, you know, and the thing is, the Yankee is the worst person, and you know, I've been known to do it. You know this, guys, but I try not to. Yankee's the worst person that will just blast over you and talk. I try and go to try and, you know what I mean. I try not to, but that guy will just talk right over you. And he was pissing and moaning about everybody else trying to talk over him and telling them to shut up. And it's like, really, dude?
Yeah, see, that's the thing. You don't want to get me and Yankee in the same room.
No, me neither. Me neither.
No. You remember a couple weeks ago when you, me, and Boomer were and Squib were talking after Sarge's show?
Yeah.
Like, I will force the issue on a question because I think I was asking you a question, right? This was after the chat. This would have been great to have live too, like when me and RL were talking a couple weeks ago too. But you just were not getting to the point. I was like, what? what the hell were we talking about? Lincoln or something? And I was like, what was it that Lincoln actually did? And you were like, it's like I had to get you back on focus. You know what I mean?
That's not unusual. Thank you, brother.
Because you just like, what did Lincoln actually do?
Squirrel, I just saw a squirrel. Okay, wait a minute.
I did the same thing earlier. I went to check my email to look for a link for this chat, and then I don't know, 39 minutes went by.
You went, wait a minute. Oh, I got another email, and I got to do this, and I got this, and I got this, and I just got to this, and oh crap, I was supposed to do this. Yeah, I know that.
It never fails. Ask David. I always forget to send somebody a link.
I watched about the first 5 minutes of match chat because, I was intrigued to hear him talk to the alt-right guys and see how it went. And then I noticed Yankee was in the chat, and I've listened to. There was one chat that I listened to where him and G-Webs were on, and they were actually having a pretty rational conversation. But 2 seconds after the guy, and I don't know the guy. He might be the greatest guy in the world, so I'm not trying to talk bad about him. And definitely not trying to have a YouTube spat with a guy the size of Yankee Marshall. But 2 seconds of hearing him talk, I got to change the channel. And I lasted 5 minutes into that, and then it was such a disaster. I couldn't watch it.
When Yankee, what really set me off on Yankee was when he was on his one chat. It was the one where it's just him, and the subject of illegals came up, and all illegals are just hardworking Americans, and a piece of paper doesn't matter. I went off on him. I unsubbed him after the show, and I haven't watched a single one of his live things since.
Yeah, like I said, I watched Matt's show, and I turned it down several times. I was more interacting with the people on the side chat, and we were all agreeing. And I honestly, in that chat, and Matt talked about it tonight, it was so hectic and going so much. He was trying to just be the host and moderate. He was missing a lot of the side chat, and but I said to him tonight, I said, hey, buddy, I offered you $20 a super chat if you'd boot Yankee, and he commented about it and started laughing, and it went on from there. But, he said that, oh, it's still up if you want to go watch it. And I commented again, dude, I watched it once. So I don't want to watch that train wreck again. And he commented that I said that. And it's like, yeah, it's really. And if you watched any part of that, it's like, oh my God, I couldn't get anything. It was all just a screaming match, yelling back and forth. Oh, you're talking over me. You're talking over me, and blah, 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 blah. And it's like, are you kidding me? Night Strike went live right after that, and we got to talking about it. And yeah, what a freaking, that was a train wreck. And I'm sorry. Yankee. I just.
It goes to include or swear up and down that Yankee is a nice guy in real life.
Yeah, well, I just don't want to talk anything other than nothing.
It's supposed to be a nice guy to talk to too,
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I don't know the guy personally, so I'm not making any personal judgments about him because, he's an absolute total stranger to me. And, but politically, I know I disagree with him on probably 90%, if not 95 or 99%. And then I'm also not really into the panel discussion here is a lot different than panel discussions on a lot of other channels. A lot of other channels, it's just like you guys have been saying, everybody's screaming over top of each other, and you can't keep track of who's talking and doing what and what the conversation's about. And that's kind of what Yankee seems to bring. I think it's really cool that he does his gun giveaway thing. That's really cool. So I'm not knocking the guy personally. I just politically disagree with him, so I'm not interested in watching it.
Yeah. Remember how we were talking about abortion earlier?
Yeah.
Apparently that came up on one of Matt's shows, or maybe it was one of Yankees a couple of weeks ago. And Yankee said that all abortions are medically necessary because insurance pays for it. Insurance pays for it because Obamacare says they have to.
Isn't Obamacare about done now?
Well, just the mandate.
I do know that Matt is not pro-choice, and Yankee is, and you know, you can look at, well, how many of the babies are being aborted and why and all that, but honestly, there's a deeper issue behind all that. But the thing that just aggravates me the most is these anti-gunners will say if it saves just one child's life about mass shootings, but pro-choice.
Yeah, but they've already come up with the answer for that. For the first couple weeks or whatever, it's just a lump of cells. And then after that, when it's, I guess, what they consider a baby, it's the mother's body. It's the mother's choice.
If it's got a heartbeat, it's alive.
If it's, I don't even, there's a specific thing that
really, just you want to put a line there, and of course, dude, I'm totally anti-abortion unless medically and completely necessary that it's going to kill the mother,
which is vastly rare. It rarely ever happens.
Exactly. So you can't argue if it's got a heartbeat. If there's a heartbeat, it's alive.
Right after conception, as soon as the egg is fertilized, it's got its own individual, maybe not as soon, not millisecond, but right shortly after the egg is fertilized, it's got its own separate DNA. So,
I know that.
And here's the thing on that too. Everybody says Roe v. Wade legalized abortion. It's free abortion's legal because Roe. No, that's not actually what Roe v. Wade says. Roe v. Wade was more about the privacy of the matter. And there's an exit of Roe v. Wade built into that decision. When they wrote the majority opinion on that decision, I forget who wrote it, but they wrote in there that if the legislature ever determines when life begins as set by law, that decision is then null and void and abortion would be illegal.
Well, I mean, if they cared about any of that stuff, they wouldn't give out Margaret Sanger awards. You know, the lady who invented birth control to call the black population, in her words, not mine.
Worse than that.
Yep. I was actually, that was, dude, I'm thinking into this, and I have a lot of deep thoughts on abortion and why the left wants it, and the minorities, and Margaret Sanger, perfect ping right there, brother.
Yeah. She's worse than that. I mean, she was giving awards to the Nazis for their eugenics program. You know what the Nazi eugenics program is also known as? The Holocaust.
The master race.
I mean, she literally gave Hitler an award in person for it.
Well, you also can't forget that, you know, as much as they love the communists, the Russians, the communists, killed all kinds of Jews too. It wasn't just Hitler.
Mm-hmm.
And the only reason that the Nazis were right wing, according to today's standards, because of conservatives, libertarians, Republicans are right wing. The only reason Nazis were considered right wing during that time is because they were arguing with the communists. So they're both just two sides of the left wing.
Yeah.
They were considered more Christian back then. There was a little
Christian Nazis. You mean the same Nazis that were killing all the Catholic priests?
The Nazis were pagan. If you look,
Nazis were pagan. A lot of the Jewish that fought, or not the Jewish, excuse me, the German. This is one thing that I've looked about history, that the army that followed Hitler didn't really understand it all.
Yeah, the German people, for the most part, were Christian, but the Nazi, particularly the Nazi leadership, they were pagans. Hitler was literally trying to set up his own religion with him at the head, as a King Arthur figure, in the Wolf's Den, his big mansion, chalet, whatever you want to call it, he literally had a room set up to mimic the round table room from Camelot, complete with a round table that all the heads of the Nazi party sat around.
And they were good buddies with the mullahs too, and the imams back in the day.
You know, Hitler was on some really good drugs back then too, right?
Yeah,
that explains a lot, doesn't it?
Yeah. Here, and getting to David's point, Saddam Hussein was a Nazi. The Ba'ath Party, that is the Arabic Nazi party. They even had, during World War II, the Ba'ath Party in both Syria and Iraq even had their own SS division.
Saddam gassed his own people, his own citizens, because they were of other religion or same religion, other.
No, it wasn't because of religion. That was the Kurds. Kurds are Muslim. The Kurds, if you're Arabic or you're a Turk, the Kurds are second-class citizens. They're not.
But they're all Muslim, right?
Yeah, they're all Muslim.
There you go. Oh well, that's like going. Wait a minute.
But the Kurds are Muslim too. The Kurds are the whipping boys of the Muslim world.
Like I said, though, that's like me saying I'm Lutheran and you're Protestant. Well, I don't believe what you believe. Well, we're both Christians. Well, I'm going to Protestant. Yeah, he gassed his own people. Come on.
Yes, he gassed the Kurds. Yes. Yeah, Lutherans are Protestant. If you're a Christian and not Catholic or Orthodox, you're a Protestant. That would be Baptist. Lutheran.
Okay, then the Lutherans, the Baptists,
Anglicans, Methodists. Those are all Protestant.
Okay, then the Methodists bomb the Baptists. Aren't they all Christians? Come on.
Well, yeah, but the Catholics who aren't exactly Christians, and we can get into that. We can get into that later.
In their pocketbook, and don't get.
That's what led to the Protestant Revolution.
Protestant was a derogatory term that was used to describe anybody that wasn't Christian, who didn't have their head cut off for not being Catholic.
Yeah, the Protestant Reformation came about because people found where the Bible was getting more widespread, mainly because of the Gutenberg press. More people were starting to learn how to read because of the Gutenberg press, and people started being able to read the Bible for themselves and realizing, hey, wait a minute. This ain't what they're telling us in mass every week.
It's funny. I just I watched a documentary about the whole, Catholic and when the printing press came out, and it's funny you hit on that, and you're exactly right. Their eyes were opened. They went, wait a minute. But then again, before they could read or had a printing press, they were sheeple. And they were doing what they were under their government told to do, and probably ruled by a little bit of an iron boot.
Yep. And the Catholic Church, when they claim that they're the church as founded by Christ, they're not.
Not even close.
Who founded the Catholic Church?
Christ.
Constantine.
Constantine the Great, Emperor of Rome.
A savage murderer.
The Catholic Church was him hedging his bets.
Oh, I thought you said who started Christianity. I said
no,
Christ, not Catholicism. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I could guarantee it's some crooked guy.
Well, that's why they have saint worship.
Oh,
saint worship was what he replaced all the gods of Rome with. If you look at the saints, particularly when the early saints from when the Catholic Church was first formed, each one of them corresponds with their patronage to what one of the Roman gods was in charge of.
Yeah, that's how it was usually done. When you conquer somebody, you take over and replace all their gods with yours.
Yep.
And technically, Mary Magdalene founded Christianity.
After Christ died. Yes.
Well, right, but she was the first one to see the risen Christ, and that's what Christianity is about: is the risen Redeemer.
Well, technically, she wasn't the first one.
Technically, true, yeah.
You had the Roman guards that ran away because of the angel and whatnot.
Right. Yeah, but they didn't stay to work to acknowledge that he was the Christ.
Well, they got the hell out of Dodge. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, I would too if I saw a ghost. If the guy I just stuck behind that rock was still.
yeah, the guy that was all wrapped up in those rags just got up and walked. Yeah, I'm getting the hell out of here.
Like, where would we be without the Romans?
Yeah, you think about it, you're right.
Here's the scary part. I don't know if you guys know this or not, but there was an inventor during the Roman Empire, I think it was during Caligula's reign, who had invented a working steam engine and a working jet engine.
Well, the Babylonians had working batteries.
Could you imagine, though, the Romans with working steam engines and jet engines? We'd all be speaking Italian right now.
Well, like, kind of going back to Rupan's point,
Scusi.
if you look back through history, all the slight things that could have changed the world drastically. Like, what if Constantine didn't win that war? What would life be like 1,000 years later? What if the Americans didn't, get into World War II? All those little things that could have just changed.
I thought about it, and I think the what do you call it? I think the Jews probably would have killed Jesus anyways. So if the Romans didn't kill him, the Jews would have killed him.
Yeah, it wasn't actually the Romans. It wasn't the Romans that pushed for Christ to be crucified. It was the Jews. Pilate didn't want to do it. If you read what's going on there, Pilate's trying to convince them, no, I got this guy over here. He's an actual bad guy. They're like, no, we want him. And Pilate just threw his hands up and was like, fine.
Jesus was destined to die. There were once the Jews had rejected him, the plan for him to come and die was set in stone. So it's not technically he wasn't killed by anybody. He sacrificed his life on purpose for a reason. So you can't necessarily say that the Jews killed him or the Romans killed him. I mean, that's semantics, technically. It's a deep conversation to get into. But, Pilate he didn't care either way. Killing Jesus didn't mean nothing to him. But he was trying to rationalize with the Jews. And he said, look, this guy, we got this bad guy over here and this guy who I can't find no crime in. And then the crowd said, it'll be on our heads and our children's. Crucify him.
Yeah, I mean, Pilate was trying to get them, hey, look, I got this guy Barabbas over here. This guy is a murderer. He's a rapist. This is the guy we should be executing. And they didn't want to hear any of it. It's like, nope.
And you got to also think about how extreme that situation was, too, because there's no way that a dissident, somebody who's bucking against the Roman Empire, is surviving. They're killing you. You're dead. As soon as they think that you're some type of a rebel, they're not going to deal with that. So for him to offer up Barabbas, who the Roman soldiers have had problems with the whole time, that's pretty crazy.
I can say this: you can look back at history. You got to think of the mentality of the people back then, and people say, "Oh, they were just as smart." Yes, but they weren't as knowledgeable as we are as modern day humans. Just think if we all had a time machine to go back to the birth of Christ, the crucifixion of Christ, the birth of whoever, Allah or Muhammad, or what would our perception be? Go back as a neutral person going, well, let's see what they have to say and let's see what's going on. What would our perception be? Very interesting thought to me. And, us as modern day people rationalize in a different way than people did back then. And crowds were very rousable and see where I'm coming from?
I don't think that's changed. I don't think that.
I'm not saying they were dumber than us. They just they weren't as aware as we are. They weren't as knowledgeable as we are
Yeah,
in
I don't know.
science.
Look
And
at Antifa.
I think his
screw
point is that
Antifa.
it's easy. It's pretty easy to get a crowd riled up these days too.
Yes, it is. It is.
I
But
always tell my
what I'm
friends,
saying, though, wouldn't it be kind of interesting to go back? I mean, if we could all jump in our little time machine like Stewie Griffin and just go back and not participate, just watch.
"Oh, so your time machine's so much better than my time machine."
Well, you know, it's
So
Stewie Griffin. Come on.
So what you're saying is, if we had a time machine, we would have to adhere to the Prime Directive.
Yes.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
I'm just saying, wouldn't it be interesting to go back and observe the event as it was happening?
And you would have to you would have to only be an observer because the breaking of the space-time continuum it's got to be a real thing. Because if you went back and you killed Hitler, just like we talked about a minute ago,
yes,
that one thing that changed is going to have an effect on millions of other things throughout the years.
That's called the butterfly effect. The butterfly effect.
Look at here. Here's the crazy thing. It's funny you should say that. If somebody goes back and kills Hitler, we never land on the moon.
Sure.
Good
I mean,
point.
anything,
Good point.
anything.
Good point. Yeah, the rocket guy. What the hell is his name?
Yeah, the rocket guys.
And again,
they
you
were
can
never
also
working on the V1 and V2.
Yeah,
The guys that developed the V1 and V2 are the ones that ultimately led to our creation of the Saturn V, which put people on the moon.
And just think if somebody went back and intervened with Christ, wow, man, that's way back. And wow, where would we be today? And I'd hate to come back because that would be crazy.
You could also argue the point that if you went back in time and killed Hitler, maybe we were living on Jupiter now. Because who knows? Maybe the Jew that Hitler didn't kill invented the space ladder that allows us to walk right to the moon in 10 minutes or something like that. Who knows?
That's an interesting point. Thank you for spurring my conscious thought on that. You're absolutely right. Wow. All right. We're talking time space continuum and it's getting me all screwy because I was just saying, just imagine going back and watching.
Wasn't killed by Hitler because he got out. Albert Einstein.
Right. Yeah, I mean, there's so many roads that you could travel with the what ifs.
What if Einstein had never gotten out of Germany?
But it wasn't Einstein. Einstein was the grandfather behind the atomic bomb, the rocket.
Yeah, his theory of relativity.
Was it von Braun? What the heck was that dude's name? Don't make me Google.
Yeah, he was the head of the rocket program. But yes, Einstein. Einstein is the one that put together the whole concept of what we call the space-time continuum now. You realize that both Star Trek and Star Wars utilize two different theories that Einstein came up for faster than light travel. The warp drive from Star Wars and the hyperdrive the warp drive from Star Trek and the hyperdrive from Star Wars are both based on his theories.
Don't forget about ludicrous speed.
That's Mel Brooks'.
Just don't turn into a big vacuum, okay? A big carpet sweeper.
Mega Maid.
Mega Maid.
But yeah, think about that. I mean,
well, going back to your point earlier with the V2 rockets, you know, it's surprising that the Saturn rockets actually worked because most of the V2 rockets were junk.
Well, they kept working on them and working on them and working on them. That's when because they had the Mercury rockets and stuff before the Saturn. So I mean, it was done in stages.
Well, the V2 rockets worked. They just weren't guided very well. Yes, they went up and worked as a rocket should, but the guidance totally crap. And
yeah, but I mean,
most of the people said, "Well, we hear it, we see it. Okay, it's over there. We're all right." The guidance was terrible on them.
Yeah. Oh, the Germans also had that one rocket-powered plane too. I don't know if they ever actually got it. Well, yeah, they did a couple of them that were in service.
That was the first guided missile or cruise missile. That was basically the first cruise missile, which is not guided like our cruise missiles.
I'm talking about an actual fighter. They had a fighter that was rocket powered. It would go up. It would take off. Its landing gear or its wheel that it used to take off would fall off. Then when it came in for landing, it had skis that it would land on. and it was very few of them ever landed and were and didn't crack up on landing. There weren't very many of them built, but they actually were put into service as a last ditch thing.
All right, here we go. It's the Messerschmitt ME 163 Comet.
They had a couple of guns on them, and
designed by Alexander Lipshin.
The Germans were real good at designing things, and I will give them credit for that. The problem is they tended to over-design things and to make things work. That's why their tanks failed. Yes, they were superior to our tanks. We just had a heck of a lot more than they did, but they couldn't produce them like we could because they were so precise.
The Panzer tank was all right, but the later, what was it? The Tiger that came out after the Panzer, right?
Yeah, you had the Tiger, and then the Panther came out after the Tiger.
Whichever one came out second was a piece of junk.
Well, like I said, though, they over-engineered things, and at the certain point in the war, they couldn't afford much, so they were mass-producing over-engineered things that weren't working as good as they should.
The Germans had multiple different tanks that they came out with. I mean, the Panzer III, the Panzer IV, then you had the Tiger, then you had, they were all good in their own ways. The Tiger tank, the Sherman was no match for a Tiger one-on-one.
Other than they could run around them in circles. They could actually run around them faster than their gun could rotate. So, and that's how a lot of them got beat.
Yeah, the Sherman's
or they just got beat by, you got one, we got 50, and you just blew this guy out, and this guy's going to shoot you in the butt and kill you. Yeah,
it was sheer numbers. If Shermans beat Tiger just because they outnumbered them. One-on-one, a Sherman tank could not take a Tiger. Its rounds would just bounce off of it.
It's called winning by attrition. And that's how we won that, by attrition. We just had more than you did.
And I've seen demonstrations with using the old operable guns off of a Sherman and the same type of armor that was on the Tiger at that angle and everything. And the rounds, you literally can hear them go ping off the armor. It would not penetrate.
And also think about it. If it wasn't for Hitler, we wouldn't have the VW bug.
Or the Volkswagen thing.
If it wasn't for Hitler, we wouldn't have our if it wasn't for Hitler, we would not have our interstate system, which Mr. Dwight D. Eisenhower saw the Autobahn and went, wow, that makes sense. And that's why we have our interstate system that we have today.
Yep, that's what that was based off of. There's lots of things we would not have the same type of armor in our tanks now. I mean, that was all based off of, I think the only other ones that besides the Germans at that point that had slanted armor at the rate that the German tanks did were the Russian tanks, the T-34.
Well, what about Chobham armor? Plate, steel, ceramic. That's
but it's at an angle. They still angle.
Well, the on the M1 Abrams, the Chobham armor, they hang on the sides over the tracks. It hangs down about halfway or so, but that's that layered Chobham armor stuff. My brother, he was in the armored cav over there in Germany I was talking about earlier, and they said, yeah, you can weld on it. It's just different, and you can only weld here and here, and yeah, okay. But it's combination ceramic and steel, and I guess it works real well.
Yeah, and the thing about angling the armor, if you put an armor plate straight up and down, you might have an inch across, right? You angle it, you just went where you have an inch and a half, 2 inches that you have to go through.
Yes, and the angle, turn my exhaust fan off, the angle adds a deflection factor. So if you got a round that's going so goddamn fast that it doesn't matter, it's not going to bounce off. Yes, you're right. You were saying that, and like you could take an inch of steel and turn it at a 45. Now you have about an inch and a half. And if that's armor, you just gained a half an inch just by angling it. Now, most rounds, they'll deflect. They'll just deflect. Even 50 cals, they'll just bounce off because the angle that which they're coming in at. But if you can figure out how to bring a round in to come straight down, and if it's kind of a shape charge, it's probably going to make it through, because if you know what a shape charge is, it explodes.
The shape charges are easy to defeat too. You just put a fence
around. Yeah, actually, a lot of the things I've seen, the shape charge defeating things with the little kind of fancy things around vehicles, and I'm like, that works? And they're like, yeah, it works real well. I'm like, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it prevents the hot metal from making contact with the tank.
Right,
or the armored vehicle, whatever it's on, because by the time that the metal gets to the actual surface of the vehicle, it's cooled down enough where it might leave a burn mark.
Yeah, it just falls off. And they have anti-armor round, or in other words, when a round hits it, it just blows up and blows the whatever it is away before it even
reactive armor.
There it is. Thank you. So keep coming up with more weapons. We'll keep coming up with a way to defeat it, right? I hear footsteps. Is that somebody's ghost in their attic?
It's like that's somebody upstairs.
Oh, that's on your end?
Yeah.
You never know. You could be sitting alone in here.
My son's room's right above the living room.
I'm sitting out in my little shop, and the only thing above me is a roof and a sky. And if I hear footsteps on the roof, I'm going to be going, what?
Santa?
What?
Don't put the suit on.
The suit?
If Santa falls off your roof, don't put the suit on.
Ah, yeah, right. Yeah, I'm not going to take part in the Santa Claus.
God, now I forgot what I was going to say again. Yeah.
Brain fart. Besides, if Santa falls off my roof, I'm going to go, hey, dude, ain't you like a couple weeks late, week and a half? Who the hell are you? You ain't Santa. He's like the late FedEx guy making the runs, right, Rupan?
I forgot to leave this. You ain't Santa. Well, if you don't want this rifle, I'll take it back.
Did I ask you? I know you got yours. Dave, you got yours?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. I think I asked you. Hey, Rupan, I need a mailing address. I want to send you some freaking stickers, brother.
Oh, yeah. I'll send you an email.
Somebody linked my email or just somehow. You on Facebook, brother?
Yeah, I'm on Facebook. I think I added you.
No, we might have. I'll dig for you. We'll figure it out, man.
Or it's just Jared Walsh.
Okay, I'll look. Yeah,
Awesome.
I'll send you a couple. They did. They turned out. I'm so proud of them. You know, it was like my first swag.
Awesome.
I'm like, man, them things are great. So.
Midnight's live.
Yeah.
Bastard didn't send me a link.
Bastard.
You bastard.
I should check. He might have sent me one. Everybody sends me links and I can't keep up.
Hopefully he didn't send it to my Gmail. I don't know if he has my Gmail. I never checked my damn Gmail. I got that Gmail account and I got a bunch of wise asses from I used to play video games with that signed me up for all kinds of silly adult things that go to my Gmail account. It's like unsubscribe to them and you don't get unsubscribed. And they still do it. It's the worst part. I don't even really talk to these guys anymore. And next thing you know, somebody signed me up for this adult thing or that adult thing. Like, God damn it. So I don't even use my Gmail account.
Anybody that you give your address to is going to sell it to anybody who wants to buy it.
Ain't that no crap? Because
I mean, it's in the agreement. Like when you click "I agree," it's right there. It's they tell you that by law that they have to tell you. But I'm sure plenty of places do it illegally too. But every time you agree to these terms,
yeah, like I said, I go in and I check my email, and you know, we very rarely go to spam because, you know, we're just hitting our email, and I go to spam, and I mean, there's so much garbage in there. And then I go to the crap promotional, and then the social, and I see, and it's like there's a lot of spam in there, and it's like, oh man, how the heck they get on my email? And that's exactly how they got it. You sign up for this, it's sold. It's like, I can't keep up with all that. Just mark it all as spam unless I know you, right?
That's pretty much what happens to all my emails. Like right now, I've got, let's see, 187 trash emails, and I don't see where my spam is at. I guess I don't have any of it right now. That's actually pretty good.
Well, you got to go down on the tab on the one side, on the left side, and go to more if you're in Gmail. It'll say more, and then it'll give you your trash and all that crap. And
yeah, that's what I'm looking at now. I'm deleting all my trash now.
Yeah, it's like, honestly, I didn't pay attention till about a month and a half ago, and I'm like, oh my God, there's so much garbage. Where are these people getting? Oh my, and I'm getting promotionals from like Walmart, and hey, talk to me tonight, and hey, you won this on Amazon, and then I look, and they're all coming from the same place.
Yeah.
Spam, 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 spam.
Spam.
And you can, honestly, a lot of them have go unsubscribe, which you can. It might work. Good luck.
Spam, eggs and spam.
It's just like when you get the phone calls at your house, and they say if you want to be put on the list not to be called back, press 1, and then they just call you from a different phone number.
Yeah.
I get that on my cell phone.
Yeah, I'm starting to get it a lot now too. I don't answer my phone. 99% of the time as it rings, I don't answer it. And so
we have 0 viewers. Yay.
Yeah, midnight probably grabbed them all up.
Yep. I'm about to kill us anyway. So, you guys got anything else you want to plug or anything real quick?
No, man.
Negative.
Good times. Nice talking to you guys as always.
Yep.
Hell yeah,
Good.
Thanks for having me.
Yep, no problem.
Hey, thanks for having me. Good hanging out with peeps. Like I said, y'all not far. I'm going to throw it out again. Creator Summit, September 13th, 14th, 15th. Thunder Valley Precision. Look it up. You might enjoy it. Come out and shoot long range and whatnot, and just come hang out with gun-friendly folks.
And did you get better internet?
What, here?
Yeah, you haven't had a single technical problem the whole time.
Well, I've been on my laptop. I'm hardwired. I don't know why. The last live thing I did.
I was seriously wondering, did you get better internet?
I just turned everything the lowest it would go and went with it, and cool. No, the last time I went live, I'm trying to remember who it was. It was on my phone, and honestly, my phone didn't falter. I was like on the live chat on my phone and doing the YouTube thing on my computer, and yeah, I'm impressed. It didn't falter tonight. So, but anyway, like I was saying, Creator Summit next September. Be cool if whoever could make it. So,
and with that, we will call it. And I know nobody's out there watching right now, but for anybody who wants to listen on the replay, have a good one, and we will catch you next week.
Peace to all. Stay 2A strong.